pick your class and
earn your battle points.
Because it's time for the Star Wars Battlefront Podcast. Welcome to episode 153 of the Star Wars Battlefront Podcast. I'm your host, Sage Goodwin, joined by my brother and co-host, Sam Goodwin.
Hello there.
In this episode, we'll be going over the Darth Tyrannus update. It's finally here.
Let's get started.
Darth Tyrannus is here.
Yes. For all of you non-fans, that's Count Dooku.
Yes, non-fans. Before we get into our thoughts, let's break down exactly what was changed and added into the game, starting with Count Dooku.
As you see, my Jedi powers are far beyond yours. Now, back down.
A masterful duelist, Count Dooku excels at close combat with a lightsaber and can deflect lightsabers easier than other lightsaber heroes. While his skills with a lightsaber are to be feared, opponents will also be wise to avoid his lightning stun ability, where he can quickly unleash a blast of lightning. Opponents caught in the blast radius will be thrown to the ground. Calculating and confident, you should approach Count Dooku with caution. Count Dooku will be available to unlock via credits only, costing $35,000. His abilities are lightning stun. Dooku releases a very quick lightning stun that throws all nearby opponents to the ground. The damage is reduced for each extra target, up to a maximum of 5 targets. Expose weakness. This ability targets a single opponent and causes them to become affected by a number of detrimental effects. Anyone targeted by expose weakness will have their movement slowed down, will receive increased damage from all attacks, and they will become highlighted for Dooku throughout the duration of the ability. Should the target be defeated by one or of Dooku's attacks while expose weakness is active, the cooldown is instantly refreshed. Duelist. This ability begins by Dooku raising his lightsaber up to his face and then down to his side, readying himself for combat. Once activated, Duelist will improve his lightsaber attack speed and damage for a short time. While active, Dooku will change his attack sequence, now dueling with one hand behind his back. His dodge is also on a shorter cooldown than the others, and with more charges available, making him a formidable foe for anyone that goes up against him in close quarters.
So Count Dooku is finally here. Yeah, his abilities are... I messed around with him online a little bit, haven't really touched him too much, but so far he seems actually kind of balanced on the overpowered side.
Yeah, he is leaning more towards overpowered, but overall, very balanced.
Yeah, I like when heroes or villains drop and they're more overpowered than they are underbalanced, then they can just, mess around with that easier.
I think it was Guillaume Ross said it the best. On Twitter, he was like, with Dooku, we have found how broken lightsaber combat is. We will be working to fix that once Anakin arrives.
Yeah, it is kind of janky right now.
Especially when you have Dooku who can block lightsabers and deflect lightsabers better than any of the others. It really changes up how things are played.
Yeah, it's kind of weird because when they were doing a little synopsis on Dooku, the character, they were like, oh, he's powerful and powerful. They had no weaknesses on him. I was like, oh no. Usually there's like, oh, but he's, weak at a range. Nope. He's strong in close quarters and at a range.
Yes. He has one appearance right now, and it's the default appearance for Count Dooku called Sith Lord. And he's got 4 victory poses. One is I am superior. One is you should reconsider. One's unimpressed. And the 4th one is not worth the effort. And his emotes are foolish.
Brave but foolish.
Looking forward.
I've been looking forward to this.
Powerful.
I've become more powerful than any Jedi.
And control.
The Sith control everything.
Doesn't have as many voice lines as Obi-Wan did, but he wasn't in there all that often and didn't really have many memes.
Yeah, he didn't really. And the voice actor they got is pretty good, I think.
Yeah, he's the voice actor from the Clone Wars show, actually.
That's awesome. I'm liking how they're getting all these Clone Wars actors on here.
Yes.
All of the voice performances in Clone Wars was pretty impressive.
Yes, they were. The only one that they actually got from the movies is Finn.
Mm-hmm. John Boyega.
Yes. Because he's a big Battlefront fan then. He was like, heck yeah, I want to voice my character in the game. All the other ones are just snobs.
Did you play a good amount of Dooku last night?
I did. So we got the game updated. We're recording this on Thursday, and you got to play today. I was playing earlier. I was playing late at night yesterday, and I got a lot of play time with him. Got in a game of heroes versus villains, and I played him throughout 2 different games. and then I played him quite a bit in Hero Showdown. So those are the experiences I've had. I haven't played him in like an actual Galactic Assault setting or anything like that, but I have played him on offline arcade, Geonosis, because it's Geonosis and it's Darth Tyrannus.
Yeah, I played him a little bit today, but the internet we have is terrible.
Yeah, our internet sucks. It's terrible.
So I jumped in, read all of his abilities. I played a few games of Heroes versus Villains, but as you know, with the new villain/hero, they're always going to pick him first.
Yeah.
But I finally managed to get him. Then I'd move a few feet, it would lag out. I'd move a couple more feet, lag out. So just decided to like use his abilities, just like on no one in a bare room, and then read his abilities and just like get a feel for him.
Mm-hmm.
I did use his lightning on someone and it like one-shot him, but I think they were on like 25% health, which is actually a pretty good amount of damage.
Yeah.
And it's actually seeming to be one of his better abilities.
Yes. And it's got multiple charges, which is great. My favorite ability is his duelist ability. His duelist ability is so fun to use, and it really sets you up for combat. So right before you get into a skirmish in like Heroes versus Villains or Hero Showdown, activate that ability and then go in. It allows for more strategy when you're approaching your target.
And I was playing Heroes versus Villains, and is it like you pick a hero or villain and you not able to change it for a while?
Yes.
This new?
Yes.
Okay. Because I was really confused.
I was just about to say, I have grievances with Heroes versus Villains.
Yeah, because I'm mainly sick with Hero Showdown. I haven't played Heroes versus Villains in a little while.
Heroes versus Villains, you pick a hero, and you are that hero constantly throughout the whole freaking game. It's quite annoying.
I picked Boba Fett, because he's a decent start on certain maps, and I was going to change. I hope Count Dooku would become available.
Nope.
And nope. Just all max number of heroes in play.
I don't see why they even give you why they even give you the option to say change character if you are unable to change your character.
Yeah, it's
Like,
a
what's
slap
the
in the
point?
face.
It's like, oh, I'd like to change my character. Well, you can. Sorry about that. You just wasted your time.
And they need to fix Boba Fett. Okay, kind of off topic, but if he gets
Hashtag
touched,
make Boba great again.
if he gets touched in the air, he flies out like he just got punched by Thanos. And it is utterly annoying. Oh my gosh, I can't even.
Calm down, man. Calm down.
Yeah, they just screwed Boba Fett up even more. Like, I can understand if Chewbacca does his Wookiee slam and I fly a decent amount, but no, Lando touches me with his little X8 Night Sniper and throws me across the map.
This is something that I've noticed recently in Heroes vs. Villains with the new update. You get thrown out and just tossed aside like a rag doll
Yeah.
everywhere. I barely got touched by, I think it was Finn, and just somehow I was on like a rock or something, and I flew all over the place.
It's
then,
ridiculous.
yeah.
It is not
Yoda's like,
a solid game mechanic. I can understand if it's Darth Vader or the bigger characters doing this, but no. Any character can throw you across any map in any situation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, a little off topic, but yeah.
Yeah. I have some grievances with Heroes vs. Villains right now.
You got some general grievances?
I've got some general grievances. Going back to Count Dooku, what was your overall feelings for the character with the little that you've played so far?
I thought he represents the character quite well. Like, I was kind of curious of what abilities they were going to implement, and obviously I called the Force Lightning, but then they went kind of like they do, just throw in kind of support abilities.
Yeah.
Which I'm fine with. But overall, like, the feel of the character, like how he holds his lightsaber, his posture is like spot on, and I love that.
It is great to see. And also the sound effects. The sound effects for Dooku's saber.
Yeah, they're amazing. We're missing a little bit of skins like Headless Dooku. I can wait on that.
Yeah.
But he's like in that default skin the entirety of the film, so.
Yeah, it's kind of like, okay.
I guess they
why.
could kind of do the Clone Wars style, but he kind of has the same clothing.
There is a data mine that they had, someone in the community data mined the game, and they found files for Count Dooku and Anakin's pajamas.
What?
Yes, as a possible skin.
Is this a thing in the show?
I can't remember.
I can't remember.
I don't.
I can see Anakin wearing pajamas, like shirtless Anakin with his metal arm with Padme,
Mm-hmm.
But that was just like some pants.
Padme's just floating behind him as like a cape.
I like outside of the movies, like Count Dooku, I can imagine it, but I don't see where they're drawing that from.
Is it from the show?
Clone Wars?
Maybe. I think when Savage goes to his...
I feel like I've seen it before. Like, I can picture it in my mind's eye. Yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna have to Google that.
Count Dooku pajama.
But if they had Count Dooku pajamas and not just like regular old Count Dooku in Clone Wars style, I'm gonna be a little disappointed.
If they add Count Dooku's pajamas, but they don't add Darth Maul's legs.
Or bikini troopers for stormtroopers.
Yeah, like seriously, what are they doing?
Yeah, oh my gosh.
Bikini troopers in Battlefront need to be a thing.
Yes. I was hoping for like Rex and, Captain Cody, Commander Cody, whatever.
As heroes?
At least as like skins, alternate appearances, but we'll have to wait on that. I'm hoping they'll continue Clone Wars support after Anakin drops and all that.
I do too, because there's still so many maps and so many different characters that they can add. Just going along the lines of the Clone Wars TV show, like if they want to do Clone Wars the TV show, that would be awesome. Like you've got
the new one's coming out, so they could actually do
a
season
great
around
tie-in.
that.
Yeah, Cad Bane.
Yeah, there's so many
Asajj
like
Ventress,
bounty hunters and like off characters, clones that are really prevalent in the series and that could be added.
Yes,
just the Clone Wars literally has the most content across Star Wars, period.
Yeah, exactly. Those movies, whether you like them or not, did great world building and character creation. Like there are so many different Jedi that we don't know anything about, except through like mentions that we barely see. Like there's Aayla Secura, there's Ki Adi Mundi, Plo Koon.
And that's what you get when you like throw George Lucas direct something. He's really good at world building and character creation.
What the characters actually say and do is a different thing.
So that's why it failed in the execution of the film, but like the
TV show was also
world
headed
building
by
is awesome.
The TV show was also headed by George Lucas, and they did a great job of expanding that as well.
Yeah, you kind of had to get used to the animation at first, but it's a solid show.
Exactly. Count Dooku is definitely how do you think he stacks up to the other villains and heroes?
I say he's probably, from my experience, I need to test him out a little more, like top 3.
Mm-hmm.
Because he's really a strong villain.
Yes, against Obi-Wan, I played 1v1 against Obi-Wan, and they're still pretty even. I would hand it to Count Dooku though.
Yeah, you got some skill points for Darth Tyrannus, Count Dooku, whatever you want to call him, and I was spending them. And his star card abilities are actually pretty decent. Like the one that I upgraded was, can't remember the name, but it increased your max health regeneration. So if you get like really low, you're able to regen more. And that's something I keep forgetting to do, is like leveling up these heroes and villains we have. Because I went to Bosk and we had 3 skill points and no cards equipped. So I went on there and did that. I just like need to dedicate a couple hours to that.
So I think that the star card that you're in reference to is the one called Sith Control. Count Dooku has increased maximum health regeneration.
Yep, that's it.
Other ones that he has is Rising Power, which also affects health. Whenever Count Dooku defeats an enemy trooper, he gains
that's
20
the other
health.
one I unlocked.
Another one is Finesse, affects his lightsaber. Count Dooku drains less stamina when blocking and attacking with his lightsaber. Then there's Blind Spot. Lightning Stun has a larger effect of area. Last seconds, Lightning Stun is a faster recharge rate, but its range is reduced by 1 meter. Superiority, Expose Weakness is active on the enemy target for a longer time. Dominance, Count Dooku's enemy target takes more damage while Expose Weakness is active. Masterful Duelist, Count Dooku deals even more damage while Duelist is active. And then Balanced Duelist, reduces the recharge time of the Duelist ability.
They actually all seem pretty good. Any cards that deal with health is generally better, and some of the ones you want from a hero.
Yes. Especially the minimum regeneration.
Yeah, because that can get really annoying if you if say you're like on Galactic Assault and you encounter a hero and they get you to like half health. That could come in real handy.
Yes. Moving on, another thing that was added to the game, Geonosis comes to additional game modes. As soon as Geonosis launched, we were like, where is it for the smaller game modes? The answer to that question is simple now. Geonosis will be coming to Heroes vs. Villains and Blast, where you'll be able to experience the Geonosian canyons on a smaller scale. The planet will also be available within Custom Arcade, making it the perfect opportunity to get some practice before jumping into Galactic Assault.
I could see it being like that. The Tatooine map that you played, the what's the like story type game mode on Battlefront 2015? Like Drop Point?
Battle Scenarios? Is that it?
Missions.
Well, anyway, it's like a Tusken Raider-esque map.
Yeah.
Kind of based around that. I could see it kind of being like that. Because Geonosis and Tatooine are fairly similar.
I find it funny how we have had many discussions on the type of maps added to Battlefront, specifically being sand game modes.
Yeah, just basically Tatooine.
We've got Tatooine, we've got Jakku, we've got Geonosis. There's 3 sand maps, and they all look very similar.
Then you got Hoth, which is basically snow Tatooine.
Yeah. Tundras are actually a type of desert.
Yes, correct.
There we go. We've got 4 deserts there.
Not even counting the smaller game modes that they produce. But Geonosis, I think, is the best sand map thus far.
Yeah, I really like the varied levels and just how big it changes things.
Mm-hmm.
Now on to the patch notes. Hero and classes changes. Fix several issues with abilities not always registering due to map geometry factors. Force heroes whose abilities reliability should be improved include Darth Vader, Darth Maul, Luke Skywalker, Rey, Yoda, Kylo Ren, Iden Versio Stundroy, as well as Emperor Palpatine's Electrocute have also been improved. They fixed issues where the audio for several characters' dialogues was reversed or missing. They fixed an issue where Iden Versio's Friend in Battle star card and Boba Fett's Bounty Claim star cards would show the wrong icon, and they fixed issues that would occasionally lead to lightsaber blocking not being able to deflect attacks from enemies. Finally, that was an issue that I ran into a lot. Obi-Wan Kenobi fixed an issue where Emperor Palpatine's Chain Lightning could damage Obi-Wan even when blocked. Yay. Fix a visual clipping issue where Obi-Wan's fingers in the fighting stance victory pose while the general appearance was activated. Fix an issue where Obi-Wan's Your Move emote would play out of sync when playing in a language other than English. Darth Maul, they fixed an issue where Darth Maul's choke ability would occasionally throw opponents in the opposite direction.
Yeah, about the choking, like I was waiting, and you know how the little tip things pop up? You know, like blah, 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 blah while you're waiting. Mm-hmm. One of them was like, Darth Vader's choke ability can be used to throw people off that ledge. I'm like, you guys should not be encouraging that. It's like something game-breaking.
Oh, so fun, though. So fun. Unless it's done to you, and then it's infuriating. Leia Organa. Fix an issue where Leia's Laser Brain Epic Star card would occasionally cause the alternative fire damage of Leia to vary when equipped. Captain Phasma. Fix an issue where Captain Phasma would not always take reduced damage when using Survivor ability, while the Not Hard Enough star card was equipped. Fix an issue where the First Order Sentry Droid ability was not always firing at targets that were too close. General Grievous. Fix an issue where General Grievous could occasionally use the Thrust Surge ability on a speeder without animation or ability cooldown. Boba Fett. Fix an issue where Boba Fett's For the Hunt in-game UI was being triggered in the last spot where he activated it rather than his actual location. Chewbacca. Fix an issue where Chewbacca would occasionally be able to use the slam ability twice when pressing the ability button at the end of the ability animation. They also fixed an issue with Han Solo about the same thing, but with the shoulder charge ability. With Darth Vader, they fixed an issue where Darth Vader was able to jump twice if the ability focus range was used midair. Fix an issue where Darth Vader was unable to move players while using Force Choke. Kylo Ren got some changes. Fixed several issues that affected the gameplay of Kylo Ren's Frenzy ability. It is now finding targets better and successfully doing multiple hits if only one target is available. If there are several targets, Kylo Ren will jump between them. A targeting system has now also been added for the ability. As a result to above changes, the Bloodlust star card has now been changed so that Kylo Ren deals additional damage per strike. Instead of increasing the amount of strikes, possible total amount of damage that can be inflicted on target is now 360 points. Assault and Specialist have also been changed. On the miscellaneous changes, they fix an issue where canceling or failing matchmaking while on the front end menu would occasionally cause certain UI options to become unresponsive until the player changed screens. They fix an issue that would occasionally lead to no data available messages to display of the end of round screen when a player has played several arcade matches prior to joining. Fix an issue where the front-end menu text would not be displayed correctly when booting the title with the console location set to certain regions. The known issues. An issue has occurred with Obi-Wan and Rey not always being able to block attacks from Darth Vader or from Count Dooku when his duelist ability is active. The issue is being investigated and expected to be fixed at a later update.
Do you think the heroes are more powerful than the villains? Because I'm kind of leaning on that.
You think the heroes?
Yeah, because they just have so much more diversity in like weapons and lightsabers.
There are more diverse characters. Like you've got Han Solo, you've got Leia, who are both blasters. You've got Lando, another blaster. Chewbacca, another blaster, and Finn.
Yeah, and on the villain side, you have maybe 3: Bosk, Boba Fett, Phasma,
and Iden. So 4.
4
versus the 5.
Yeah, but it seems like all the villains, they pick the lightsaber wielder, so kind of weirdly.
On that note, I hope that they add more lightsaber heroes and villains going forward, and they make the lightsaber combat more robust.
Yeah.
I think noticing that with Count Dooku has really changed the way that they're thinking about it, because Count Dooku changes the way that lightsaber combat works, especially in combating with a different speed against deflecting lightsaber shots, and also just being faster in general and having that ability where his moves are actually faster than the other opponents.
Yeah, this is like the most dimension that we've had to a lightsaber wielder.
Yes.
Yeah, he has so many aspects going on.
And then you've also got the new change to the stamina and how that affects it as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and like the villains prior to that mechanic wasn't available, so they couldn't have star cards, compensating that. So that's another problem, that when new mechanics are added, the previous villains and heroes are kind of, neglected in that aspect.
Yeah. So according to Guillaume Raz, like I said earlier, there will be a change to how lightsaber combat works once Anakin comes out. I hope it's a drastic change and improves the quality of the lightsaber combat, especially with the older heroes and villains, like you were saying.
Yeah, I just want to see him mess with the older ones a little more, give them skins, because in Battlefront 2015, when traits were made, they went back and gave every single villain and hero trait.
Yes.
And that is really good to see.
That is a very good point there.
I'm not saying that mechanic has come out quite yet to where it's game-breaking, but it will, and just like having the foresight for that.
Yeah. Changing up the lightsaber combat for the older heroes will definitely help as they add Count Dooku, and I assume they'll have something somewhat similar with Anakin Skywalker.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that's about it for this episode of the Star Wars Battlefront podcast. Count Dooku, overall, I say it's a little too long, didn't listen kind of thing. Count Dooku's great. They're making some great strides with changing up the combat, depending on the choices that they make going forward. Really looking forward to that.
I think he's the best villain, gameplay-wise, added so far.
Mm-hmm.
Phasma was all right. And then, what do we have?
Grievous.
Grievous. He's awesome, but that doesn't really equate to this game. He's not as powerful as Dooku.
Not as powerful, but definitely more strategic and combo heavy.
Yeah, then it all depends on playstyle and how you play the villain/hero and how that equates to that.
Yeah, if you can tie Grievous's moves together, you can be very effective. But that also depends on the type of attack you're in. Like if you're in a close quarters combat, your spider crawl ability would do more effect on a group than it would just normal person.
Yeah,
just because you have more targets to hit.
And next week I'll have played him a lot more and give kind of an overall review of him.
Yeah.
Then.
So next episode, we will be going deep dive into our thoughts on Count Dooku and how he changes the game. This is kind of all that's been added and our initial thoughts to the newest update. Thank you so much for listening. I've been your host, Sage Goodwin.
And I am Sam Goodwin.
You can follow us on Twitter at SWB Podcast, twitter.com/SWB Podcast. You can support the show on Patreon, patreon.com/Battlefront Podcast, or through PayPal, paypal.me/tie-dye-sheep, TYEDYESHEEP.
Our YouTube channel is youtube.com/The Star Wars Battlefront Podcast. And our email is battlefrontpodcast@gmail.com.
And if you would like to support the show without any money at all and helps out a ton, leave us a review on iTunes or your podcast app of choice. It helps us out a ton, lets other listeners know what's up, and lets us know your feedback. And also, like Sam said, our email, great place to get in contact with us, as well as Twitter. If you have thoughts on Hero, we would love to hear what you have to say on Dooku. You can listen to the show on iTunes, SoundCloud, Stitcher, Google Play, or anywhere you find podcasts. As always,
thanks for listening.
And may the Force be with you.